Elena Moretti sat in the cavernous conference room of Kane Enterprises, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. At just 20, she felt like a lamb walking into a lion's den. Across from her sat Victoria Kane, the 42-year-old billionaire whose reputation for ruthlessness preceded her. With her sharp suit, cold blue eyes, and commanding presence, Victoria looked every bit the predator she was rumored to be. Elena's family's luxury fashion brand, Moretti Designs, was on the brink of collapse. Her father had gambled recklessly with the company's finances, and now they were drowning in debt. The only lifeline came in the form of Victoria Kane, a self-made tycoon who owned one of the largest conglomerates in the world. Victoria's proposal was unconventional, a merger sealed by marriage. The media would see it as a romantic union, but for Victoria, it was a calculated move to acquire Moretti's prestige and cement her dominance in the fashion world. For Elena, it was the only way to save her family's legacy. "Do we have an agreement?" Victoria's voice was as sharp as the heels of her designer stilettos. Elena hesitated. She had dreamed of love and freedom, not a marriage built on a business transaction. But when she thought of her mother, who had poured her heart into Moretti Designs, and the employees who depended on the company, she swallowed her fears. "We have an agreement," Elena said, her voice trembling but resolute. Victoria leaned back in her chair, a faint smirk playing on her lips. "Good. You'll find that I reward loyalty and hard work, Elena. Welcome to the beginning of our partnership." As Elena left the conference room, she couldn't shake the weight of Victoria's intense gaze. Her heart was heavy with dread and curiosity about the woman she had just pledged her future to. The wedding was a spectacle of opulence. Held in a grand Italian villa, it was attended by celebrities, politicians, and the elite of the business world. Elena wore a couture gown from her family's collection, while Victoria's tailored suit exuded power and elegance. To the world, they were a picture-perfect couple. But behind closed doors, their interactions were formal and distant. Victoria treated Elena like an asset, giving her little more than curt instructions about appearances and schedules. During the reception, Victoria approached Elena with a glass of champagne. "Smile for the cameras," she murmured, her voice low enough for only Elena to hear. "They're eating this up." Elena forced a smile, but her eyes betrayed her unease. "I'm not a puppet, Victoria." Victoria's gaze softened for a moment, but she quickly masked it with her usual composure. "No, you're not. But appearances matter. And tonight, we're a team." Later that night, as they returned to their suite, Elena stood by the window, gazing at the moonlit landscape. "Is this what you wanted?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Victoria approached her, the tension between them palpable. "What I want doesn't matter. This is what we both need." Their eyes met, and for a fleeting moment, Elena thought she saw vulnerability in Victoria's steely gaze. But just as quickly, it was gone. As Victoria turned to leave the room, Elena's voice stopped her. "Good night, Victoria." It was a small gesture, but it carried a hint of warmth that neither of them acknowledged aloud. The turning point came during a charity gala. Elena, feeling out of place among the polished attendees, found herself cornered by a lecherous investor. Before she could escape, Victoria appeared, her presence like a shield. "Is there a problem?" Victoria's voice was icy, her gaze cutting through the man like a blade. He stammered an apology and disappeared. "Thank you," Elena whispered, her voice shaky. Victoria's hand brushed Elena's arm, lingering for just a moment longer than necessary. "You're my wife. It's my job to protect you." That moment marked the beginning of a shift. Victoria's gestures, though subtle, grew more considerate. She began leaving notes of encouragement before Elena's meetings and taking the time to explain complex business strategies. Elena, in turn, started seeing glimpses of the woman beneath the steel exterior, a woman who had built an empire from nothing and carried the weight of it alone. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day, Elena found Victoria in the library, nursing a glass of whiskey. "You don't have to do this alone, you know," Elena said softly. Victoria looked up, her expression unreadable. "I've always done it alone." Elena hesitated before sitting beside her. Maybe it's time to let someone in. Their eyes met, and the tension between them crackled like a live wire. Slowly, Elena leaned in, her lips brushing Victoria's in a tentative kiss. Victoria froze for a moment, then responded, her hands cupping Elena's face as the kiss deepened. It was a moment of surrender, raw and unguarded. When they finally pulled away, Elena's cheeks were flushed. "Good night, Victoria," she whispered, her voice tinged with hope. Victoria watched her leave, her heart pounding in a way it hadn't in years. Victoria's estate in the French countryside was a world away from the chaos of their daily lives. When a business deal required them to spend a weekend there, Elena expected more cold professionalism. Instead, she found Victoria relaxed and surprisingly human. They spent an evening cooking together in the estate's rustic kitchen. Elena teased Victoria about her clumsy knife skills, laughing as Victoria playfully defended herself. "I may not be a chef, but I make a mean coffee," Victoria retorted with a smirk, earning a genuine laugh from Elena. For the first time, Victoria laughed back, a deep, genuine sound that warmed Elena's heart. Over wine and a starlit sky, their conversation turned personal. Victoria shared stories of her humble beginnings, the struggles of being a woman in a male-dominated industry, and the loneliness that came with success. Her voice wavered as she admitted, "Sometimes I wonder if all of this is worth it." Elena, moved by her vulnerability, confessed her fears about living in Victoria's shadow. "You cast a long one," she admitted softly. "But I think I'm starting to see the person behind it." When their hands brushed, a jolt of electricity passed between them. Victoria's gaze lingered on Elena's lips, her eyes searching for permission. Elena nodded almost imperceptibly, and Victoria leaned in. Their kiss was slow, tentative, testing the waters of their newfound connection. But as their lips moved together, the kiss deepened, growing more passionate until they were breathless, their hearts racing. Inside, the warmth of the fireplace enveloped them. Victoria's hands traced Elena's waist, pulling her closer as their kisses grew more urgent. She pressed Elena gently against the couch, their bodies fitting together like pieces of a puzzle. Victoria's lips traveled down Elena's neck, her touch igniting sparks that made Elena gasp. Elena's fingers tangled in Victoria's hair, pulling her closer as they explored each other with a tenderness that belied the intensity of their desire. Clothes were shed piece by piece, their kisses punctuated by whispered words and soft moans. The flickering firelight painted their skin in shades of gold and shadow, their connection growing deeper with every touch. Victoria's hands caressed Elena's body with reverence, while Elena responded with equal passion, her lips and hands eager to learn every inch of Victoria's form. Their lovemaking was slow and deliberate, a dance of discovery and devotion that left them both breathless. Later, as they lay entwined on the couch, Victoria's fingers traced patterns along Elena's spine. "You're more than I ever expected, Elena," she murmured, her voice filled with awe. Elena smiled, her cheek resting against Victoria's chest. "And you're not as terrifying as I thought," she teased, earning a soft chuckle from Victoria. In that moment, the walls they had built around themselves began to crumble, leaving only the beginnings of something beautiful in their place. Their newfound intimacy was tested when a rival corporation launched a smear campaign, claiming their marriage was a sham orchestrated for business gains. The media frenzy was relentless, and investors began to question the stability of both Moretti Designs and Kane Enterprises. Elena, determined to fight back, organized a press conference. She stood beside Victoria, her voice steady as she defended their union. "Our marriage may have started as a business arrangement, but it has become something far more meaningful. We are partners in every sense of the word." Victoria, touched by Elena's courage, took her hand and added, "We built this together, and we'll weather this together." That night, back at their suite, Victoria pulled Elena close, kissing her with a fervor that spoke of gratitude and love. Their lovemaking was slow and tender, a reaffirmation of the bond they had fought so hard to protect. Victoria's hands explored Elena's body with reverence, their touches becoming a silent conversation of trust and affection. Elena responded with equal passion, her lips tracing the lines of Victoria's form as they rediscovered each other in the privacy of their sanctuary. As the rivalry escalated, Victoria made a bold move. She withdrew from a lucrative deal that would have crushed Elena's family's brand but secured her company's dominance. "Your legacy matters more to me than profit," Victoria told Elena. Elena's eyes filled with tears. "You didn't have to do that." "I did," Victoria said, her voice firm. "Because I love you." They kissed, their passion igniting like a flame, each touch a promise of their devotion. That night, their love reached new heights, their connection unbreakable. In the glow of the bedroom's soft light, they shed their fears along with their clothes, their bodies intertwining as they celebrated the depth of their love. Each kiss was a declaration, each caress a vow to protect and cherish one another. The intimacy between them was both fierce and tender, a reflection of the unyielding bond they had forged. With their companies stabilized and their love stronger than ever, Elena and Victoria emerged from the ordeal as a true power couple. They learned to navigate their professional and personal lives with a newfound harmony, their connection deepening with each passing day. In their quiet moments away from the public eye, they found solace in each other. On a serene evening, they escaped to Victoria's private vineyard. The sunset painted the sky in hues of gold and crimson, casting a warm glow over the rolling hills. Seated on a blanket, surrounded by nature, they shared a bottle of wine and laughter. Elena teased Victoria about her competitive streak in business, while Victoria countered with stories of Elena's fierce determination in meetings. As the evening cooled, Elena leaned into Victoria's embrace. "I never thought I could have this," she murmured, her voice soft but full of emotion. "Have what?" Victoria asked, her fingers gently tracing patterns on Elena's arm. "A love that feels this real," Elena replied, looking up at Victoria with glistening eyes. "You make me feel safe and alive at the same time." Victoria smiled, her gaze tender. "And you remind me every day why life is more than just business. You're my everything, Elena." Their lips met in a slow, lingering kiss, each movement speaking of their profound connection. The kiss deepened as they lost themselves in the moment, the world around them fading away. When they finally pulled apart, Elena whispered, "Let's go inside." In the warmth of the villa, their passion ignited once more. Victoria guided Elena to the bedroom, their kisses growing more fervent. Clothes were shed with a mix of urgency and reverence, each piece revealing the vulnerability and desire they shared. Victoria's hands caressed Elena's body, her touch deliberate and worshipful, as if committing every inch of her to memory. Elena responded with equal fervor, her fingers exploring the contours of Victoria's form, their breaths mingling as they whispered words of love and devotion. The intimacy they shared was a dance of passion and trust, their movements in perfect harmony. As the night deepened, they lay entwined, their hearts beating as one. "I love you," Victoria whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "And I love you," Elena replied, her hand resting over Victoria's heart. Forever. Together, they built a life filled with love, respect, and partnership. Their journey from strangers bound by a business deal to soulmates united by love was a testament to the power of vulnerability and connection. Elena and Victoria proved that even the most unconventional beginnings could lead to a happily ever after.